We'll start the next segment of this forum where each candidate asks the candidate to their left one question.
Okay, being very specific, what is your main issue, and specifically, how could you make a difference in Congress?
Well, very good question. I think my main issue is jobs and the economy. That's number one. We had to get this economy jump-started. We had to get jobs created in America. The way we do that, number one, is to cut our government spending. When we're spending $1.7 trillion more than we take in, this economy will never turn around. We're flooding ourselves with unwanted debt. We're having countries control our currency, which controls the means of production in this country. And so for the jobs and economy, the way we turn it back online and get it back on track is by deregulating a lot of businesses. We have to get the government off the back of small business. I'm a small business owner, and I see day in and day out the regulation that goes along with that, whether it's overburdening tax system, the fact that I'm double taxed as a small business owner, as a subchapter S corporation. We have to reform our tax structure. We have the highest corporate taxes in the world right now, and it's stifling business. We need to deregulate. As an architect, most of the cement product we get into this country is from China. Most of the gypsum materials we get is from Mexico. We cannot produce our own minerals in this country because of restrictions and an overburdening EPA and other agencies. We have job-killing bureaucracies like the Davis-Bacon Act that need to be repealed. So it's jobs and economy. That's my number one focus.
Okay, thank you. Now, Stephen Sandstrom, you can ask one question to Carl Wimmer, and again, you have 1 minute to respond to that.
Well, great. Well, we know that Social Security is a real problem. What would you do to either continue on Social Security or to reform Social Security so it doesn't bankrupt our country?
Excellent. Good question. Social Security, as with all entitlements, must be reformed because it's taken up 60% of our entire state budget, and we're borrowing the other 40%. With Social Security, first and foremost, I think all of us on this panel, and most of you likely agree, that we should not pull the plug on those who are reliant upon the system. But we have to change what we have been doing because right now the Social Security trust account is full of T-bonds, T-bills, which are nothing more than IOUs. We have to move towards a system that is sustainable. So my proposal is as people drop out of the Social Security system that we have through attrition, we start putting people into a system that is more localized. We push the new system for people my age and younger down to the state level where you have more control, where it's personalized to you. More like a 401k or a 457, where you can keep your eyes on the money instead of relying on the federal government to keep an eye on the money, because we saw how that has worked. They have taken the money and they've stolen from the American people. And it's really offensive to me. So that's what I would do with Social Security.
Okay, thank you. Carl, now you can ask Jay Cobb one question.
You won't be able to do this in 1 minute, but give us an overview of your tax policy. Do you like the tax structure we have now, or where would you go?
No, great question. I advocate for a flat tax, but I also have to map out how you get from point A to point B, and I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I'm for immediate reforms in the tax code for things, for example, closing the loopholes and tightening up. I actually like some of the things in Paul Ryan's plan about the different tiers, and because I think that moves us towards a flat tax. But ultimately, that's where I want to end up, is a flat tax. I think it's very important that everyone pay at least a little bit in taxes. I get very concerned when we have a high percentage of people not paying taxes and actually getting money from the government. I think it's healthy for our society, healthy for our economy. If everyone pays, it doesn't have to be a lot, but that principle I think needs to be intact. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think.
Do you want me to ask?
Yeah, ask Kenneth a question because Mia's not here.
Do that too, or?
We'll just have questions from the audience for that, so she won't get this section of it.
So the question I had, you mentioned in your opening speech about how you have this software that helps identify moderates and independents, and that's your key, I think, to beating Jim Matheson. Once the software works and you get that people identified, what message actually pulls moderate and independents to you other than energy? Because it seems like you talk a lot about energy policy and that. What else will bring them so that you can beat Jim Matheson?
Okay, first of all, just briefly, the software does not identify what's going on in a person's mind, whether they're moderate or this. All it identifies is how they voted last time, and how they voted the time before that, and how they voted the time before that. And then it compares them and how everybody else is voting in their precinct. So you can find the precincts where you're getting a lot of people, a lot of skew in the bell curve for that particular precinct. You're not getting kind of a flat one. So you go for the ones where's the skew. The message is that we cannot solve our economic problems without energy independence. We've dug that deep of a hole. We just cannot do it. And we cannot get energy independence unless we open up the federal lands for development. And I've specifically many times have stated that I have a Energy Homestead Act that I will push, and I believe it'll be very popular because of that fact.
That's time.
Okay.